Good morning. We're continuing to do the suspension on Monday. Now we've moved on to the rear. You can tell because this is a drum brake. We're gonna remove the entire rear end. So in order to do that, the first thing we need to do is remove this shock and this shock, and then do the same on the other side. And then there's a trick I learned when I did the springs on the Cobra, in which you jack one side up and it lowers the other side and the spring just falls out. And then at least we won't be under spring tension and we'll undo the arms, and in theory the whole thing should just fall out. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do, penetrating oil. I mean, this isn't really penetrating oil, it's WD-40, but it seems to do the trick. I'm going to get the other jack and lift this up a little bit to make sure there's no pressure on it before I take this out, so it doesn't like... Okay, now the shock is off and this shock is off, and I'm going to do the same to the other side. Now all the shocks are off. Just for fun, because this is very stiff, I'm going to pop the trunk and I'm going to loosen the top of these so at least they'll move about freely and it's not going to jam up. I'm going to leave them on there a couple of threads. I just want them to be able to wobble. Alright, now I'm going to take my safety jack off of the rear end. I'm going to take it to the other end and I'm going to jack it up. And that should cause this spring to basically just fall out. Now, I'm going to let the other side down. I'm going to do the same thing over here. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to let the jack down, and the whole thing should droop actually pretty low. Next is the sway bar. I have leveled it out so it shouldn't be under tension, but I'm going to keep my legs clear just in case. Alright, now we're going to go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Alright. Okay, shocks are off, sway bar is off. I need to remove these brake lines, I need to remove the drive shaft, and I need to remove these arms. Not in that order. Drive shaft's probably going to go next. So to undo the drive shaft, I'm going to loosen it and not take it out because I don't want to refill the transmission again. So I'm gonna leave the tube in the front and just let the drive shaft drop. It should scoot forward enough so that it'll be out of the way. Okay, so this is our parking brake cable. Well, this up here is where our actual parking brake lever lives, and here is the two sides to the parking brake cable. And hopefully I can just finagle these out of there and be done with it. Try to get a good camera angle, but I've got to work around the exhaust, which is what I've set the camera on, and see if I can just undo this. Okay, one down. Oh, got it. Light is crappy, but so here is the pivots for the light. Ow. Here is the pivot for the cables. You can see this is now loose, and we just need to feed our cables through there. So in theory, we should be able to just pull. Alright, next I got these little guys, which I need to squeeze the clip so that the whole thing will shove straight through the frame of the car. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this on camera because I'm struggling to see what the heck I'm doing, but let me try and get a different angle. After consulting the internet, YouTube in particular, I've fiddled with these for 20 minutes. You have to do in all 4 sides and then pull it through. Well, everyone's like, oh, just use needle nose pliers. This guy said, get a little hose clamp, put it about here, tighten it all the way, and then pull the cable into the hole, and then loosen the cable, or loosen the hose clamp, and the whole thing just pulls right on through. So that's what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna see if I can get an okay angle, so because I need both hands to do this. So I've got the hose clamp on there. Now you can see when I pull on the other end, it goes straight in. So then when you undo that hose clamp, the whole thing will pull straight through. And again, I can't really film it because I need both hands, but it'll work. And thanks to that cool method with the hose clamp, we now have a completely intact parking brake out. So when we go to sell this rear end, hopefully we can be like, hey, it's complete, all the cables are good and everything. I guess next we need to undo the brake line, soft line, from the middle of the car, so that we can undo the arms, and once we undo the arms, the whole thing should come out. This here is a brake line, a soft line that connects the rear end to the rest of the braking system. That is what is coming off next. Okay. Alright, that's gonna leak a little, which is okay. Okay. Now, the only thing holding this thing on are the arms, the upper and lower arms. I've got the big impact on the upper arm bolt, or nut rather. Let's see if it'll take it off. Fingers crossed. Because if you remember, when we did the torque box reinforcements, we had to undo the lower bolt, and we couldn't do it. So, fingers crossed. I guess the good news is that it is loose. The bad news is that I have to now get something on the other side because it's just spinning. Let's see if we can get the lower one loose, which I can't use the impact for. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, I'm so buffed. I'm gonna lose no problem. One down, 3 to go. Alright, I have a wrench on the back. Hopefully now we can take that nut off. There it goes. Nice! Well, the upper arm seems to want to come out easy enough. The lower arm looks like it's got tension on it, so we might have to jack it up a little, take the tension off, and then try to knock that bolt out. So let's try that and find out. So no, that does not put the tension off of it. So I think I'm going to undo the rear bolt and try to just remove the rear end and then deal with it then. Because then we can jiggle it around without having to jiggle the whole car. In theory, this end is out. I'm going to put a jack stand under it just in case, and I'm going to move to the other side. Okay. Now, the entire rear end should be loose. I'm going to take the jack stand out of the other side and lower the jack, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, this end is caught on something. And that is how you remove a rear end from a Fox Body Mustang. Sort of. Mostly. I mean, it's out, and it didn't break anything, so I'm calling it a win. It's getting dark, so we're going to turn this into a part 3 for putting the new one in. So, have a nice day. Get my impact though. It's up my butt.